Hey everybody, what is up? Welcome back to Final Trade. Let's take the 30-day post-release look at Dominaria remastered collector boxes with data scraped off of TCG Player. In the 30 days since release, it has sold another 477 boxes at a total of $128,000, coming out to an average box price in that time period of $268 per box, which you can kind of see as it climbs down this 7-day moving average price curve here to about $240 today. And something I had said back in January was that I really did not expect this 280-ish release day price to hold up long term, because there is no chase card in these boxes. There are all the tutors, there's Force of Will, there's a lot of other great cards in this set, but there wasn't a particular foil treatment or anything like that that would be considered a chase card. Just a lot of good, powerful cards on their own. And so what might we compare this against? Well, we don't have another remastered set in our data set to compare it against. The last one was Time Spiral Remastered. It was before we started collecting these data, and it didn't have collector boxes anyway, so we will compare it very kind of inaccurately to Double Masters 2022, and you can see DM22 outsold it by 5x on a dollar basis, which is not terribly surprising. Double Masters 2022 is an honest-to-God master set. The power level of the cards in those collector boxes are just off the chart. And while Professor said it best that Dominaria Remastered is a quasi-master set in disguise, it still just does not rise to the power level of the cards that are in DM22. And even with the DM22 collector boxes only having 4 booster packs instead of 12, people were willing to spend so much more money on it, 5 times as much money. So we just don't have a good, accurate thing to compare it against. You know, hopefully one day we get Wrath Cycle Remastered, We Can Dream. But until then, let's just go ahead and throw it up here against the most 2 recent standard sets. And this is pretty interesting itself because Brothers War outsold it, and yeah, you might expect that. Brothers War had an honest-to-God set of chase cards, you know, the serialized artifacts, and so I would expect that to outsell Dominaria Remastered collector boxes, just because, again, Dominaria Remastered had no chase cards in it. Now, Dominaria United, you know, it's forever has the bump up in its curve from the original Lost Legends Hysteria when that was first announced. So if you could imagine taking this yellow curve of Dominaria United and you shift the whole curve downwards by about this amount, you know, this first big spike here when the Lost Legends were announced, it still outperformed Dominaria Remastered. And that's pretty interesting because including Liliana in that set just turned out to kind of be a bust. Wasn't that big of a deal. Yeah, they had textured cards, but they were not, the exact application of the texture treatment was not as nice as in Double Masters 2022. And it was 1 texture card per collector booster pack. And so it was not nearly as special, and they do not command as high of a price. So it's interesting to see that Dominaria Remastered failed to live up to either of those standard sets. You know, there's a lot of factors to weigh between Brothers War and Dominaria United against Dominaria Remastered. The interesting thing is thinking about these Dominaria Remastered collector boxes on the medium term. You know, on the long term, they're going to do great because of all the great retro frame cards, all of the early Magic reprints, things like that, and of course, all the tutors. But when you watch things like Rudy's box opening videos of Dominaria Remastered collectors, you know, over the course of 2 boxes, he'd regularly get 7, 8, 9, sometimes 10 tutors. Just the number of tutors included in there was amazing. And I had a patron mention something to me a day or 2 ago. I thought it was really interesting. He said that he thought the tutors right now were essentially undervalued. And I thought that was really insightful. And it was correct that, you know, right now the market is, if we could even use this term, it's flooded with tutors. And Yeah, it kind of is because there are so many coming out of the Dominaria Remastered collector boxes and to a lesser extent the draft boxes. I went out and I looked at the prices on TCG Player of all of the various printings of Vampiric Tutor, and even going all the way back to the original Visions printing and the second printing and 6th edition, even those have come down like $1 or $2 or $3 in the last 2 months. And so even those original nostalgic 30-year-old cards have come down in price at least a couple dollars on a powerhouse like Vampiric Tutor because of the number of new copies of Vampiric Tutor being introduced into the market by Dominaria Remastered. I did the same exercise for Enlightened Tutor, which of course was originally released in Mirage and then reprinted, I believe, in 6th edition. And it had come down several more dollars, and it was always a cheaper card than Vampiric Tutor because it just wasn't as powerful. But on a percentage basis, it's come down quite a bit more. And so if you're looking to pick up those old copies of the Tutors, now is a good time. If you've ever wanted a play set of any or all of the Tutors, now or maybe within the next 2-3 months is the time to buy it, because like that patron said to me, the Tutors are essentially underpriced right now. We should expect that over the next 2, 3, 4 years, WotC probably will not reprint Tutors in the volume that they reprinted them in Dominaria Remastered. You know, we should expect that occasionally we'll see them rotate in and out of the list, or we might see them in some special treatment, something like the Mystical Archives had Demonic Tutor, for instance, and see them in essentially much lower quantity in some type of choked off slot in booster packs somewhere in the future. But to see the reprints of the Tutors done in the quantity that we've seen with Dominaria Remastered, I don't think that's going to happen for a while. And on the long term, I think that's going to be something that really props up the value of these Dominaria Remastered collector boxes. So I think $240 is a pretty great price today. It's probably not going to go a lot lower because the cards are so great. There's so many valuable cards in the collector boxes, and it's a popular set, and there's not that much room left between the price that most card stores paid for the box and what they will get by putting it into your hands via eBay or TCG Player. So hey guys, let me know what you think. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Join me on Final Trade. Thanks a lot.